938 Live gets you talking. 938 Live gets you talking with The Breakfast Club.
Now, Credit Bureau Singapore data shows that the average amount of debt that people are charging to their credit cards has increased. Last year, the average monthly balance per consumer on all his or her credit cards rose by 4.2%. We're talking about a figure of over $5,000. Those aged 45 to 49 chalked up the highest monthly balance of over $6,000. The percentage of consumers who missed at least one payment on their credit card accounts last year rose to 14.6%. That's actually up from about 13% in the previous year. If you have problems servicing your debts, think about how your children are being influenced by your money habits. Children undoubtedly observe the money habits of adults, and research shows their mindsets are formed as early as at the age of 2, mainly by their parents. So how can you help your kids be financially prudent and savvy, even if you are not yet so? Joining us today is money coach Ernest of Jopez Academy. He's just published a book, Raising Financially Savvy Kids. It's based on his research with early childhood educators into cognitive science, child development, early childhood education, and psychology. He has conducted workshops for children and their parents in childcare education groups since 2009. Ernest is also a speaker for Money Sense, Singapore's national financial education program. Good morning, Ernest.
Good morning.
Now, here's what I found really shocking. Mindsets about money are formed at the age of 2, really?
Yes. Statistically, we have to check, all right, and the theories. Children's habits are already beginning to form. They learn a lot from our parents. They try to mimic behaviors, speech, everything. So a lot of things is learned from observation.
So when we talk about mindsets about money, what exactly constitutes that mindset?
Okay, that mindset that constitute the children growing up, okay, is through language, behaviors, all right, your language that parents are talking, all right, children begin to...
So in relation to money, how does that come across? How is that manifested in relation to money issues?
Okay, so children, they, as parents, you know, they bring their children out, right? How do they get to learn all these things? First, we bring children out for window shopping. We didn't know that by bringing them out for window shopping, we are actually teaching them money. But they saw, they observed the way that we spend the money. But they didn't know that where the money come from, how we get it, that sort of thing. All they know is spending. And parents didn't even aware of such things. They always thought that children learns money from schools. But when I went to schools, I checked with the teacher said, hey, my curriculums are full. We don't have time to teach this. So when I put the parents, the teachers, and the children together in my workshop, I ask questions. The best person to give the answer is children themselves. And the way that I test them out as a children, simple.
You know, when I was in school, they used to make us circle and trace out coins, and then we used to exchange it with each other.
Right.
And then we had to learn this. I mean, we sort of learned the value of giving away. If I had this and I gave you that amount, you know, you know. So I mean, that was when we did that in primary 2, and you're right. I mean, that was 8 years old already.
I'm curious, Ernest, though, you were just about to tell us that you have asked children certain questions and received certain responses. Tell me about that exercise.
So when I ask those questions, children are very young in K1. They may not understand vocabulary well yet, but I will ask questions that children tell me. When you got lots and lots of money, what did you do?
Spend it.
They say, was spend it. Most of them will say spend it. Very few will say
save it.
Very few will say share it or give it. Very few. But there were a few who say save it. Majority will say spend it. So I turn another questions. Children, what if you don't have money? And so what do you think the answer will be?
Get it from my daddy or mommy.
Well, they will say that mommy has the money.
Right.
Okay. So I'm quite close.
Then I say, look, what if mommy has no money? Go to daddy. So I will now look at the parents. I say, mommy, where do you think the child learned this from? Obviously, from the two answers we can know that it's actually from the homes. from the parents that the children are learning. It got nothing to do with the schools.
And when they grow up, where to get money? If you don't have money, the answer will probably be, I'll charge it to my credit card.
Yes, and no,
They see the credit card as a borrowing facility,
Yeah.
rather than just a convenience to
as
make
they grow
large
up, yes,
payments.
they agree. I agree with that. But when they're young, they'll say, use the card, use the plastic, or go to the wall,
Oh, okay.
press the
The
wall.
The wall, the ATM.
Oh, the ATM.
So
the wall,
children are
okay.
very very honest. They're very frank. They what they see, this is what they say, and I think those truths come out. So I begin to say, parents, you see the answers.
So your suspicion is that even as they grow up, some of these mindsets remain on a subconscious level, of course.
Of course.
Yeah? And influence the way they deal
Correct.
with money. Right.
Even as they, but I mean, we grew up in a family that says that money don't grow on trees.
Yeah.
You think what your father got to own a golden hill or whatever, and then we feel that money was so exclusive or elusive like that, So we say, what is that?
But any extreme is bad, right?
As any extreme is bad.
I mean, you shouldn't be not spending your money, and
Yeah.
you shouldn't be spending your money like there's no tomorrow either.
Yes.
So tell us more about how to strike that balance, to help our children learn about that balance.
First, I think that in today's world where money is plentiful, yet we always felt that it says that money is always not enough. But how is that so? When the U.S. has printed millions of money, all right, but what happened? And still money not enough. I think we got to come to a point that with so much money offloading the market, we got to learn how to manage it, all right. And the way to manage it, I will advocate for children is use the money jar system, which nothing new is.
It's actually very old school.
It's a very
the
old
money
school
jar,
thing. Yeah,
save
so
your
children
20 cents or
learn-
whatever.
Yes, correct. And children learns from having fun. So I used to say, let's do the money jar for them. Get them to decorate your own money jars, the save, the spending jar, and the saving jars. So with that, then when they build their own, they feel that I belongs to them.
Right.
All right. And then they will start using it. So
What are the most common reasons for people to fail at managing their money? And I'm talking about adults here as well.
yes, even as from teenage they begin to fail. I think it's partly because of the current situation that the medias, the press, the advertisings, and all that attract people to spend money. Okay, so many of us are now making a lot, but we've forgotten how, or no one had taught the managing of it, how to spend. So most of us, like what you mentioned earlier, that people overspend, especially they spend money using credit card. They didn't see the physical money.
So define money mastery for me.
Well, money manager, the way that I define it, is a combination of a positive mindset that includes financial literacy, management disciplines, that all encompass together.
Okay, so how can a parent start today helping their child develop money mastery, even if the parent themselves is struggling with it a little?
Well, all of us has no money mastery to begin with. All of us,
Even you?
including me. I started from a very poor family.
Yes.
Okay, my dad was a bankrupt too. But along the way, I determined that I don't want my family and my children to grow up the way that I grew up. So I begin to surround myself with resources, materials, mentors, workshops, seminars, audio tapes, getting myself equipped to learn what I wasn't taught in schools. And because of all those things, I took about 8 years to learn everything. And I packed them all together, and I began to have a plan. I began to set up a model by myself, learning the positive language especially. It's very important, my thought was that I must be rich. I cannot fail. And that has been with me for the last 19 years, and I'm going up very far from now.
Tell me more about this positive language. What else is positive language?
Positive language, like things like, your determination to succeed. No, I'm not going to be a victim or a slave to money.
Right. That's important, isn't it?
Yeah. I want to be a master to money. I want to be a victor. I want to be in charge of money. I want to take full control of money. I want to be responsible. If I have to spend on things, I want to know where the money comes from, where it goes. I don't spend my money until I have my saving jar set up too. For my adults, I learned this from some mentors and some workshops. Is that my financial freedom account must be set up first before I even start to spend my money. But most of the adults today is that when their paycheck comes in, they didn't even allocate a percentage of your income to saving.
What should that percentage be?
Well,
Different experts say different things.
different experts say different things, but I would say it's a minimum of 10%. Given that the government of Singapore has already helped us to save quite a fair bit.
Yeah.
All right. So
As you're talking about CPF and things like that.
CPF thing.
There's also now limits on how much you can borrow, how much you can pay for, how much you can use to pay for your mortgage, that sort of thing.
Yes.
So the systems are in place actually.
Well, the system are in play, but along the way, the people has actually get the government treated. The CPF was meant for retirement initially, but along the way, people treat the government arm to say, "Hey, let me spend my money for housing."
Right.
For housing, yeah.
For housing, and so just imagine, and everybody is aware that the CPF money would never be enough for retirement. So what are we going to do about it? So
you need a retirement plan, obviously, and you have to save some of your money as well.
Yes, especially
Because while the money is sitting in CPF, it is being used for housing, which I think a lot of people are grateful for. At least I'm using
for housing. At least I got a
housing.
house.
Yeah.
Compared to many people in the world, I think we are.
But
very
you have to
fortunate.
tweak the way you spend other money. I mean,
Correct.
the other cash that you
Correct. The
get.
other cash portion of it, and I would say is that if you can't, a minimum of 10% must go to that. I call that the financial freedom account jar, where the money goes in. You can't take it out at all until it had produced fruits of the money.
When you say fruits of the money, what do you mean?
You mean the dividends or the interest or the returns, the yield that you can get out.
Right.
Is the principle you cannot touch. So that forever, you actually get the fruits. It's like a golden goose. You get the eggs, you spend on the eggs, but not to slaughter the goose. Once you slaughter the goose, that's it. You don't get the eggs anymore.
Stay with us on 938 Live. We'll continue talking about what you can do as a parent in terms of being more conscious of how you talk about money on a day-to-day basis and your money management methods in order to positively influence your children. Stay with us. We'll continue in just a while.
938 Live. 938 Live gets you talking.
Talking today about how you can raise financially savvy kids. Joining us is money coach Ernest Tan of Jopez Academy. He's just published this book, Raising Financially Savvy Kids, and it's based on research with early childhood educators. He's been looking at cognitive science, child development, and how their mindsets about money are formed. So, Ernest, tell us on a day-to-day basis, what do parents have to be conscious of in their conversations about money and their money management methods in order to positively influence their children? What are the steps they can take immediately?
I think one of the steps I think the parents can do is that, show the children what are your family daily expenses or the monthly expenses. Especially children today, parents are giving them handphones, for example. Getting a handphone is not a big deal today. Most parents can afford it. But children are not getting the real value behind it. We should show the children the bills that's coming after that.
Right, the recurring cost.
The recurring cost,
Yeah.
If not, they end up, buying this, buying that, go to the stores, buy this and that. Then end up the parents are paying it and the children doesn't learn the value of the money. Another area will be the household, the utility bills. Children today are very forgetful. Somehow or other, maybe of stress or work or whatever, school works. They can leave the aircon on, they will, the lights on, the PCs on, running, and they just went out. But the bills sort up, and the parents are paying for it. I think children need to be taught that everything has a cost, everything has a value. And another way to teach parents is teach children. Parents let children make some money at home, by not just giving free allowance. Certain allowance.
Do some chores and I'll give you an allowance.
Yes. Well, the way that I bring out my children is that when my children are old enough, especially after your secondary school, hey, I pay so much for my maid. If you can do some of these household chores, I can get rid of my maid. This amount of money, I can distribute among the three of you.
So teach them wealth creation.
Correct.
Not just wealth creation, they will also learn about the value of doing work.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
And perhaps respect domestic workers more, respect cleaners and so on
because
more as well.
Earlier on we are saying that children learn from the parents. What the children didn't learn from the parents is how hard the parents is making money out there. Because when the parents are making the money, they were not there seeing them working.
Yeah.
But they saw them spending. And that's why they learn all the spending, but forgot all the hard work on that.
That's right.
So in other words, you should actually involve your children in your monthly budgeting exercise.
Yes.
A lot of adults don't even do a monthly budget, so perhaps it's time you did that. Also, teach them about things like taxes, so on and so forth.
Yes,
right?
yes. So different ages, we want to teach them different things. Children as young as even as primary one, parents, you begin to struggle how much to give them an allowance. You want to start there talking about it. This allowance is given with a specific responsibilities. Once you finish it, you got to earn it.
Right.
All right, parents, when you don't have, if the children don't have enough allowance, don't just top it up.
What about needs versus wants? How do you explain that to them?
Okay, for children, needs versus want, different people classify different things. For me, I classify needs for children is things that they need you to keep you growing. All right,
So food.
Clothing, education. But you don't going to tell me young ones you want an iPad, a phone. To me, those are wants already. So if you want those wants, save for it, work for it.
Right.
All right.
Now, you want your children to be prudent, but also savvy, because being totally risk averse doesn't really serve anyone well, right? I mean, they need to know how to make smart investments and things like that to grow their money as well.
Agree.
How do you communicate that, and at what age?
At what age? Children normally grow, so when they're young, we teach them about saving first. So the saving jars that I have in the money system is at the 20%. As they grow up, these saving jars break into two. Part of the 10% teach them about investing. Today's investing world doesn't mean that you need a lot of money. That's a myth. We today can start investing as little as $100.
Right.
All right. Then you teach children, show them that this is your investment account, this is your saving account. As they were growing up, by the time they are 18, 21, it's not working, pass this account to them. All right. This is your money. You got to look after them.
So there are low risk investments and there are high risk investments, that sort of thing.
Yeah,
So-
but when they're young, it's okay to go high risk because over time, when they're long period or long term investing, you actually write off all the risks. So long term is good for them. I wish my parents would have invested for me. I would have.
Yes, me too. But thanks for sharing all this with us, Ernest. Ernest Tan is a master money coach, a certified financial planner as well, and author of Raising Financially Savvy Kids. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you.